Welcome to the coverage of the Townsville AFL Grand Final today. Today we bring you the Reserve Seniors and Men's RMS Premiership. Finally at 5:15 we see the Parry NQ Women's Grand Final. It's sure to be a great day of football. My name's Brennan Gibson, and joining me in commentary today is Thuringowa Bulldogs Senior Assistant Coach Brett Hughes. Brett, Bulldogs lining up against Northern Beaches Suns today to start proceedings. They're undefeated this year, and what's the keys to win and continuing the form that they've carried throughout the season?
Yeah, thanks, Brennan. Look, it's almost a tale of two fairy tales for these two teams today. We had the Bulldogs last year, went through the season, got to the grand final and lost in overtime after a draw at the end of the regulation time. So for them to go through this season undefeated and get here again, they probably need to get another one in the bank, another cup in the cupboard, just to pay off what they've done for the last couple of years. And on the other hand, you've got the Suns who, look, they've come from behind twice in finals and probably won the games in the last minute or so of the game in each of the games they've played in these finals. And look, they've certainly showed if they can hang around in the game for long enough, they know how to win when it gets tight in the end.
Yeah, Brett, so it's a glorious day for footy here today. Mind you, the wind has picked up of recent in the last probably 20 minutes, so we'll see how it goes. The wind's blowing across ground from the top side to the commentary side, so I'm sure we'll see a bit of the footy nearby. You will have to bear with us getting started throughout this game, just getting the names of the players down pat, but I'm sure come the end of the game we'll be there, and I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. We've got Andrew Grubber officiating today's Reserve Grade Grand Final with Mao Gray and Jim Thompson.
Yeah, it looks like the Bulldogs are going to be kicking to the right of screen to start with. Not sure that wind's going to give any sort of end an advantage. It's pretty much coming straight across the ground, but we'll certainly find out more about that as the quarter goes on.
Here we go, we've got Andrew Grubber coming in for the first bounce of the 2021 Reserve Grade Men's Grand Final.
Up they go, Gilroy's palmed it down. Suns have won it out of the stoppage though. They're going to go forward first and they've chipped it out towards the half forward flank. Dropped the mark, great tackle by old Berkey out there, Tony Burke. Spills free, loose up towards the wing. Another contest up there.
That was a really good first clearance by Noah Richardson from the Suns there. If they can get a couple of early goals against this win, I think it really keeps them in contention throughout the game. We've got ball coming in at a stoppage here. I think if the Suns can get a couple of early goals, we're really going to be set up for a really good finish. The Suns will be finishing with the wind, so I think that's a big advantage for them to start this game. We've got Dean Greenwall, who's taken a mark just outside forward 50. He's going to send it in.
Goes over the back. Cody Cambosis clears for the Bulldogs out towards the back flank. Oh, there's a great tackle. Great tackle by the Suns there. They're really up and about in these clinches early. It was shot on goal and it's bounced through.
Wasim Haddad kicks the first goal. In the first final I seen, Wasim Haddad was actually the one that kicked the winning goal against the Herman Park Tigers, so that's a really good start for the Suns. As I said before, I thought them getting an early goal would be a real benefit. They are going against the wind here, so that's a really big opening goal.
Yeah, great start for the Suns too. The couple of clearances that we've had, or a couple of stoppages we've had so far, they've managed to get ball outside to players and really be able to straighten up and have a look at their forward options from there. They weren't really under a lot of pressure. So something that the Dogs are going to have to just try and counter early on.
We've got the ball up coming here. Gary Kelly's made his way into the midfield. He's a wily old veteran that's had a really good year this year, and he's played a big part in their first two finals games to get the Suns through.
Great clearance there by the Bulldogs this time. They get it to Flynn Kelly there on the wing. He's a running machine, Flynn Kelly. It'll be really important for the Dogs today.
Ball spills out. Suns get the clearance. They move it down. Intercept mark taken by the Thuringowa Bulldogs. They look to switch it back into the middle. They're really trying to be patient here, the Bulldogs, and just get this game started, get the game onto their terms. They were undefeated throughout the year, so I know that they've got some confidence coming into the game. If they can settle, get the game on their terms, they'll feel much better about that.
Yeah, just getting a little bit of control, I think, Brennan, at this stage. The scraps sort of hasn't gone their way at the moment through those clearances we mentioned earlier, so they just get ball in hand for a little bit of time here and get some control on the game.
Ball goes inside 50. Bulldogs got numbers around. It's 2-on-1. Bulldogs keep it alive. Ball goes out of bounds. Gets set up for a forward 50 stoppage here.
It was well done by the Suns defender to come across and help out when he recognised the outnumber there too.
Just about to have the ball thrown in here. Bulldogs have pushed a few numbers up to try and lock it in there. Frank Scudamalia takes the tap. Free kick.
Oh no, we're going to have another throw.
No, we're going to rethrow it. Scudamalia takes the tap in here. Another wily old veteran for the Bulldogs. Manages to affect the scoreboard regularly.
The clearance get there by David Scott, who pumps it inside 50, and Scudamalia has taken a great contested mark there. He's a really big body in that forward line for the Bulldogs, and with the high ball coming in, he's always going to have a bit of an advantage on his opponent.
Loves having a shot in front of goal, does Frank Scudamalia. I think he's a pretty good chance from this distance. Goes back and he slots the Bulldogs' first goal for the day. That levels it up, and I think the Bulldogs will be a little bit more comfortable now that they've got it back, got one back.
Absolutely, Brennan, and I think that just that control when they got the intercept around the middle of the ground there, just to be able to have patience and chip it around and look for the open play before just bombing it inside 50.
Brett, who do you think's the key player for the Bulldogs today to get this done?
Look, there's a few. I think Clint Osterberry is just a really, really good player, and obviously a proven player at senior level. He's been playing a lot in the back half in the second part of the season, and really sets the game up from there. And you know, with his intercept play, and he's got great vision as well. So really important for the Bulldogs going that way.
Yeah, for the Suns, I think Noah Richardson, a young fella that's played a few years in the reserves now, I think he can have a real effect on the Suns' ability to get the ball out of the centre clearances. He can run all day, and he's got a lot of pace.
Ball goes inside 50. Scott again off to Scudamalo, who's had a shot, and he's just faded to the right there for a minor score.
I think all the momentum's currently just changed a little bit. It's going with the Bulldogs now, so I think if the Suns can take a mark here, look to slow down the play as Richardson takes a mark. I think if they can get a little bit of control here and just keep it on their terms in this quarter while they're going against the wind, that's a big, big win for the Suns. Ball goes inside 50. Bulldogs have got numbers around the contest. Suns clean up. Gets the hands away. He's got Richardson. Gives it to Richardson. He's run into trouble, but he's got out.
Goes on left foot there. He's just wobbled it forward.
That's
Gilroy.
A big hit.
Wow, that's the ruckman, Big Gilroy. He's gone down. The Suns are clearing it again. Through Richardson. It's a great run down tackle. Not paid, not rewarded. Dogs are cleaning up. They've got a few numbers around the ball, but they're mucking around with it. A bit too close to these handballs. They need to get a bit of length in their play.
I really think there, we actually seen an instant there where I think the Bulldogs had the ability to go straight down the line, but he's seen that he had an injured player in front of him, and he actually slowed up.
Yeah.
We're just having a quick pause in play here. Looks like we're going to have a stretcher, so just bear with us here. We'll get an update on that as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I think it's Jared Gilroy, Brennan, the ruckman. You know, he's a very good player. He was up there with the goal kickers for the year as well for the Bulldogs. So really important that the Dogs can find a way to rally from this.
That was a really big hit, really big collision that Jared Gilroy has taken there, and he hasn't moved. So this could be a big loss for the Bulldogs here. He's a notable player that plays in between the reserves and seniors, probably more so in the reserves this year. So losing a player of his calibre, especially their ruckman early, is definitely something that they didn't plan for. No,
absolutely, and obviously we wish him all the best in his recovery from whatever sort of injuries was sustained here. But yeah, it looks like he'll be done for the day.
Brett, who do the Bulldogs have coming in that can take his role in the ruckman as a ruckman spot here?
Well, I think during the year they've had Cayman Alladin and James Ryan have sort of shared that load at different times as well throughout the course of the season. So it's probably going to come down to one of those, I think. And then look, it gives them a fair bit of mobility around the ground when those guys get in there. They may not be as strong in stoppages as what Jared is, but certainly around the ground they're quite mobile young fellas, and they should be able to link up with the general run of play that the Dogs want to play like.
Just got a slight pause in play. Not sure how long this is going to take. We may we may have to take a little bit of a lengthy delay, but we'll keep you updated on that. I think as the teams huddle, I think especially for the Bulldogs now, obviously it's a bit of a mental psyche when you lose one of your key players, but with experienced players such as Tony Burke, Clint Osterbury and Josh Hollis, I'm sure they're in the huddle now just talking to the Dogs, just telling them to calm down and making the on-field changes that are required.
Absolutely, and then you know, reserve grade football, you're always going to have some really experienced heads in your teams, and I'm sure that's going to be what the guys are talking about now as they sort of all get around each other. I'm sure they've got some concern for their teammate, and the older heads will be the ones trying to keep their mind on the job and making sure that they don't just think too much about their teammate at this stage. We'll worry about that later.
While we've got a break in play, we'll just take a moment to recognise some sponsors for Townsville AFL. We've got RMS Engineering and Construction, the Ville Resort and Casino, Parry NQ and C-Link. Massive thank you to those sponsors. Without the sponsors, it makes it very difficult for us to be able to have live streams like this and put on really extensive grand final days. I'm really looking forward to today's game. While we've got a break in play, Brett, we might take an opportunity to have a little bit of a chat about the next game, the big game. It's Herman Park Tigers versus Curra Swans in the senior grand final. What's your take on the senior grand final, Brett? Oh, look, I can't wait for it to start, to be honest. It's they've split the points throughout the season with 2 wins each. They've sort of different contrasting styles in a way. I think that if the Tigers can set up as the ball's moving into their forward half of the ground, if the Tigers can be setting up nice and early as the ball's moving behind the play, just to try and block Curra up a little bit through the middle of the ground, that'll hold them in really good stead. On the other side of that, Curra's a really strong momentum team. If they get the ball in hand and they can control the play, they can be really, really hard to stop. Looks like we're going to get play back underway here. We wish all the best to Jared Gilroy, and if we can get an update on that, we will provide you with an update. Umpire Mal Gray puts the ball back in play.
Yeah, so we've seen Allerton going to the ruck there, Brennan. And here he is getting the clearance. So yeah, it goes up towards the wing. It bounces past Callum O'Dwyer. Scudamala comes in, tries to put some body on. O'Dwyer's back in there. Moffat's in there. He just boots it forward, gets it back again. Handball over the top to Ryan. Back to Moffat. He's outside 50. Now he's inside. He tries to square it up in towards David Scott, who grabs it on the bounce, swings onto his left, kicks out towards the far pocket there. Cody Fry, I think it is, out there. He's got the ball. He gets past one. He can straighten up and have a shot here. He has a look at it, and I think he's got it.
That's a great goal. They really, really worked hard for that one up forward. Just made sure once they got it up forward, they kept it there. That's a really impressive goal from the young fella there. I think that's the settler for the Bulldogs. I think that's where they put themselves in a position, knowing that they've gone through the season undefeated. That puts them in that position where they feel a bit more comfortable, and this is where the Suns really need to step up and try and make sure that they don't spill another one.
Yeah, fantastic to be able to get one so quick after the delay in play there, just to probably reset the minds and make sure that we're still in a game. We've still got a game to play and win, and get the mind back on track.
Just touching back on the senior game today as the umpire puts the ball back in play, I think it's going to be a really good game in the senior game today, Brett. We've got the 2 neighbouring clubs, Herman Park and Curra Swans. We've got Darren Paddy Andrews coaching the Herman Park Tigers and Jamie Fogg coaching the Curra Swans. 2 great mates, a lot of rivalry there. Jamie Fogg, former coach of Herman Park Tigers, so I think there's definitely going to be some feeling in this one, and there's also going to be some love, but as they cross over the white line, I'm sure it'll be a great game of football. Back to the reserves game here. Bulldogs get a clearance, sends it down the line. We've got a stoppage here. And the wind, just put it out there, the wind has really picked up here. We're just trying to make a few adjustments with our call here. Our team sheets are blowing away as we speak, so not sure how that's going to affect the rest of the day, but it's definitely going to keep the ball on this side, you would think, Brett.
Yeah, and as we see Allerton again being involved as the makeshift ruckman in a clearance, and it's really well worked by the Bulldogs to get it out towards the back. Great kick inside 50, and James Ryan's just taken a pretty good mark going back with the flight there. So, look, he's a beautiful kick, this young fella. I think from, Brennan, about 45, 48. Oh, no, he's handed it off now. Giving it to the captain in Aidan Johnson, who goes long towards the goal square, and out the back there's a mark there to the Bulldogs.
The Northern Beaches Suns just can't afford to let players get out the back on their own there, especially when the ball's coming in towards goal. As he goes back and kicks it, that's a big goal for the Thuringowa Bulldogs here.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh,
I've been corrected. The umpire has brought him around. So he's got to go back on the angle. Brett, what's your thoughts on this angle? It's a pretty tight angle. How's he going to go? Is he going to go the banana, or is he going to snap?
Look, and Nathan Purdy, he's one of those guys that if he was 45 metres out directly in front, you'd back him, but he's just gone and nonchalantly just puts it through. It's a great kick from there. Obviously these days you'll see guys run around and check side, but we've just gone with a straight drop punt there, so yeah, good goal.
Brett, what do the Suns need to do to stem the flow here?
Look, they just need to try and create the stoppages. I think they've been okay in that area early in the game. So they're just the pressure and not allowing the Bulldogs to get on the outside, just to slow it up, eat up a bit of clock, go in the quarter time and reset again, because once those dogs been getting outside at the moment, they seem to be able to find some targets fairly easily.
Umpire Mal Gray will come in, throw the ball up here to get play back underway. But Northern Beaches Suns 1 goal 6, Thuringowa Bulldogs 3 goal 1, 19 at the 14-minute mark of the first quarter.
They go again, and Allerton's had another look. He's just trying to get another clearance there, so he's really given him something since he's replaced Jared Gilroy there. The Suns go inside 50 with a bit of a mongrel kick. It's bounced off someone's shin. There's a fumble there by the Suns player, and it's on the outside again. The Dogs look like they've got the extra player. There's another handball going out. It's on the ground. It's a bit scrappy out there. Suns win a kick back towards their half forward line now, and it trickles over and goes out of bounds.
Got a stoppage on the far wing here. The wind is really starting to pick up, so it's really good to see the footy out on that wing. I think that's the side that the game's going to open up from.
Yeah, and look, I think the Suns can identify at the moment that the momentum's not quite with them, so their ruckman's actually dropped behind the footy here and given them a spare behind the play. So as long as he can position himself in the right spot and sort of control where the Bulldogs want to move the football in a sense, because of where he positions himself, he'll be effective. But
Suns have had a couple of quick inside 50s here since we've had the stoppage, but they're just not getting enough numbers around the fall of the footy. I think if they can get a few more numbers around the fall of the footy, it'll open up a few goals for them. Absolutely.
Another big contest inside 50. Oh, hang on, the whistle's gone. Not sure what we've got here.
We're going out of bounds.
Out of bounds, was it? Okay. So you can see now, if you have a bit of a look behind the play, Brennan, there's a few Bulldogs players that are just setting up really well to make sure they can cover as much grass as possible should they lose this clearance inside 50.
Yeah, I think that's what you need to do in today's game. As I mentioned, with the way the breeze is blowing, it's a really crucial quarter just to make sure that you don't let them kick away early, because the ball is going to be locked in at this end, you would think.
Yeah, and we just see a flying shot on goal by the Bulldogs from the stoppage there, which went through for a minor score. So maybe this is an opportunity for the Suns to get a little bit of control back with the footy if they can find a target.
I think it's going to be players like Noah Richardson, Jack Clark, Gary Kelly that will need to step up and start pushing up the ground and getting their hands around the footy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And your running players and your experienced players become really important when you don't have the momentum. You want your runners to be able to try and get to contests and put as much pressure on as possible, and also your experienced ones to slow things down and just recognise where the game's at and try and eat up some clock.
Brett, you're coaching the Suns. We're at 16-minute mark. You're coaching the Suns at the moment. What would your message be right now?
Let's just create stoppage after stoppage after stoppage for the last few minutes of this quarter. We don't want momentum going against us. So I don't care if we have 3, 4, 5 stoppages in a row. We don't want to let the ball on the outside.
I'm sure Coach Rod Drew from the Northern Beaches Suns is thinking very similar, and you would think that the message is going out to send that. You just don't want to see another goal spilled here.
No, and look, it's 3-3 to 1 goal at this stage, but it certainly has a bit of a feel that the Bulldogs are using the ball better when they get control of it. So I think if you're in the Suns camp, you just want to see the ball not move for a little while, and as I say, see it out. 50. Yeah, good intercept mark, and look, they set up pretty well behind the footy there, the Suns. They had a couple back there, which is good to see. Just to, as I say, try and slow that momentum, but. Oh, we've got an in-the-back free kick, so have we got time here for the Bulldogs to get another one? They're about 70 metres out on the boundary line at the moment. We've got Flynn Kelly with the football. He's looking around. It's pretty crowded in there. He kicks inside towards the top of the 50 there. Mark's been dropped, and here we go. The Suns are on the rebound here. If they can get some clearance. Oh, no, he's turned it over, and Matt Trend has taken intercept mark. There's players on in the middle for the Bulldogs. One of them's Osterberry. Handball's off. They run through the middle. They're switching out to the far side of the ground again, going into that breeze. Bulldogs with control of it. Handball over the top. They've got a spare player out there. It's a 3-on-2.
Really got to lift the pressure here, I think, the Suns. They've got to get a bit more pressure on the ball carrier and make sure that they slow down the use by the Bulldogs.
I think that's David Scott on the outside there. He's a left footer, so it's really good centering kick there towards Scartamala. Handballs it off. There's a bit of a fumble, and there's almost an opportunity gone there for the Bulldogs.
Not sure what we've got here. We're just trying to see. I believe the umpire's going to throw it in.
I think it hit the post, mate.
Ball comes in.
Oh.
It's a goal. That is a big goal, getting towards the closing stages of the first quarter.
And that's Allerton again. Since he's gone into that ruck, Brennan, he's really given him something around those congested areas, and just to be able to run into an open goal like that was, it just shows how important he might be for the rest of this game.
Been really influential since he's come into the ruck. They certainly haven't lost too much by losing Gilroy there. Ellerton's really stepping up, which is really good to see for the Thuringowa Bulldogs. They'd be happy with that.
Well, I think he's got a couple of clearances himself, so he's essentially just another midfielder. He's just contesting the aerial stuff at the start. So it's probably worked in their favour in a sense. But, so three quarters to go, and the Suns do have a pretty handy ruckman themselves. So
a lot of experience in that midfield with Osterbury as well. Bulldogs get a free kick. They're going to have one more chance inside 50.
Cooper Guest.
Lee Bennett intercepts there. That's a really good stop by Lee Bennett, and he gets a free kick for in the back. That's a big play for them. They really couldn't afford to have a late goal by the Bulldogs.
We've nearly 20 minutes gone on the time clock. I'm unsure of how long we missed with the stoppage in play there, but I'd like to see the Suns just try and move it quickly now if they can, and see if they can get another score before the siren goes.
Experienced Gary Kelly with the ball in hand at the moment. He's going to he sends it down the line. He really just wanted to clear it out of that inside 50 with 20 minutes played in the quarter. He knows that they need to get it further up the ground. He can't afford for it to be locked in their defensive 50.
Yeah, and good intercept mark there by Tony Burke. And look, he's the experienced head that we've been talking about. He's just chipped at the young Cooper Guest there, and just a bit of control there for the Bulldogs.
Suns get it on top of the defensive 50. Goes by foot, gets it out. Ball's been spilled to the ground. Bulldogs have got one more chance here. They get a clearance out.
Here's James Ryan. He's handballed out wide to, I think it's Josh Hollis there.
Josh Hollis there.
Yep. Well, there's a bit of pressure there, but they all ran off and left Moffat by himself. He goes deep into the pocket. Now there's an out number for the Bulldogs. It's almost 4-on-1 here. They just need the ball to sit up. Well done by the Suns defender. Really well done. And he's going to get a free kick for a sling tackle too. That was really important. He stood up there because there was 4 Bulldogs onto 1, and the Suns player ended up with ball in hand and gets a free kick for his efforts.
Lee Bennett will take the kick here from the Northern Beaches Suns. A couple of really big plays in the last few minutes by Lee.
So given where the time would be now, Brennan, I think it's really important you just play the percentages. So it's a down the line kick, which is really well done. Taken there by Richardson. Yeah. You don't want to cough up the middle of the ground, but he looks in there now. He's gone. He's got to take that mark. Oh, that's a free kick. Another one. It's just a risky bit of play there late in the quarter. You can open yourself up if you go too shallow on this ground into the middle. So
looks like we've got another player down here. It is Jacob Mudden from the Northern Beaches Suns. Suns really just want to take time off the clock here, you would think. There's 22 minutes played in the quarter. The siren could go at any stage now. They really just want to make sure that they get the footy in their hands and don't let anything go forward.
So Anderson again goes up towards the 50, and mark dropped there by the Bulldogs. Handball over the top. They've got some numbers around here, the Dogs, if they can just get someone to pick it up. The ball spills out. Cooper Guest picks up. Handballs to Scatamala on the wing here. Kicks up towards half forward, but there's no one there. It's all the Suns. Now they're going for the switch. And that's a much better spot to do it than where they tried just before. And here they go. They're open on the outside now. If they can just keep going and make it through, they can control it from one end to the other. They might be able to get a score.
Bulldogs clean up here. The wily old veteran in Tony Burke Gets the ball in hand and he delivers down the line. Looks like we're going to get a stoppage here. We do. You'd think the siren's going to go any minute now, Brett.
Yeah, and I think, look, I'll be pushing some Suns players just behind the football just at the moment, just given that this stoppage is forward of centre in the Bulldogs' end, just to make sure we can make it a contest as much as we can.
As the ball comes in, just going to have another throw here. I think for the Bulldogs so far, Brett, you'd have to say that Sean Moffat has had a real influence at the top of their half-forward line there. Yeah,
look, he's a good player, Sean Moffat. He's a sort of probably a veteran as well. He's in the veteran stages, I guess, of his career, but he's a really hard matchup because he can go in the midfield and he's a pretty big body, but if he goes forward, he's quite a good mark as well. So it's almost, as the ball spills out, we've got the Suns going deep inside 50. Oh, and the siren's gone, and that's the end of the first quarter.
That's a big first quarter by the Thuringowa Bulldogs. 4 goals, 3-27 lead the Suns, 1 goal, 6. Brett, out of the first quarter, obviously we're changing ends here. I think a few skill errors by the Suns, obviously contending with the wind. I think they might be able to pull it together and put a little bit more of a score leading into the second quarter. Who do you think needs to step up for the Suns?
Well, look, Noah Richardson's been really good, and his run has been, and carry's been really important for them. We're coming away from stoppages. I think Jack Clark probably needs to get his hands on it a little bit more. He's another guy that can break the lines a little bit and run and carry, and obviously this type of game, territory is going to be quite important with this breeze because, pinpoint passes when you're trying to switch from one side to the other. We've seen it happen so far during the first quarter where the guys are clear with the football, but if you don't hit them with the target, you're actually eating up time that you should be moving the ball forward and just inviting the defensive efforts from the other team to come in a bit more. So those sort of guys, if they can get the ball under their arm and sort of take a bit of grass and kick the ball inside 50 or further up the field to another Suns player, it's going to be important for them. It's been a contrasting style in a sense. The Dogs have probably controlled it a little bit more, and the Suns seem to be under a little bit more pressure. But I think they've got the ability to control it, the Suns, if they can just be a bit smarter with the ball.
We'll take this break to acknowledge our sponsors once more. Today's coverage brought to you by RMS Engineering. A massive thank you to RMS Engineering and Construction. We'll just take a short break and we'll be back with you very shortly. And we're back with the coverage of the AFL Townsville Reserves Grade Grand Final. Thuringowa Bulldogs leading the Northern Beaches Suns 4 goals 3-27 to 1 goal 6. It's been a really high intense physical first quarter by the Thuringowa Bulldogs. I think the Suns are really going to be talking about that now and just making sure that they can get a few bodies around the contest and start to even things up a little bit here. Brett, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really important that they get a bit of momentum early in this second quarter here, as they did in the first. And then, in a sense, I think that break in play with the injured Bulldogs player in the first quarter there, it almost took a little bit of momentum away from them. So, look, I think if they can get that, early on in the first quarter, they were winning the clearances, finding players on the outside. If they can get back to that and it's just an intensity thing, make sure that they've got that there. Take the scoreboard out of it for now, and just concentrate on those intensity and effort in those congested situations and see where it takes them.
Just looking forward to our next coverage of the RMS Senior Men's Grand Final between the Hermit Park Tigers and the Curra Swans. You would think the Curra Swans come into this game as the clear favourites, Brett?
Yeah, I think so. Look, they've as I mentioned earlier, they're 2 wins apiece for the year. But it's the reigning premiers. They've been here before. They've got a lot of experienced players, as do the Tigers. The Tigers have probably got a bit more youth than what Curra Swans do. But I just think on the big day, I think that experience might count for something.
We're just about to get play back underway for the reserves. Just waiting for the Suns to find their positions here. They're in no rush. I think they want to get out there. They just want to make sure that they're giving themselves enough time to get out there and get this game back on their terms. Noah Richardson is a key figure for the Suns. I believe he's only 21 years old, but he's having a bit of an influence for the Suns, and I think if he can step up and get the ball in his hands more, get a bit of run and carry, I think that he'll open it up here.
Yeah, up they go again, and Richardson straight on cue there, Brennan. He's getting the clearance, and he's put the ball under his arm, and had a bounce. We just spoke about how important that's going to be for him to be able to do that.
Jack Clark's the other one that's got really good run and carry for the Northern Beaches Suns, and he picks it up, goes forward. Suns getting in early inside 50 to start the quarter, which is a big win for them.
And a high tackle, so the Suns will get a shot here. Now, these little points now, though, Brennan, when they're having their shot on goal now, it's important the guys behind the footy don't become spectators. They need to be able to set up, should the shot miss, they need to be able to set up so they're not just reactionary once the ball goes through from behind. They're actually in position and ready to go so they can defend and keep the ball in their front half.
Captain Drew Gammon going back for a shot on goal here. He's going to be kicking it from probably just on 50, maybe 49, you would think. Does he have the distance, Brett?
Well, I'm not sure. I think that breeze will make it tricky, though. He's going to have to aim at the left post at least and hope the breeze brings it back for him. But goes long with the left. It's coming back with the breeze, but it's just fallen short. Big pack flies.
Dean Greenwell flew there, and he's actually taken out one of his own players. So Suns are putting on really good forward pressure here. It's really good to see.
Yeah, fantastic pressure. If they can just generate a score here. There's another great tackle. Ball's bobbling around everywhere. Moffat comes, he's fumbled. Here's Greenwell again, picks it up, and he's tackled to the ground. Picked up by the Bulldogs again. We're getting a shot on goal here from Clark, but it's going to fade it to the right. And it's gone out of bounds on the full. So this is where I was saying before about those Suns players. If they've set up correctly here, they should be able to tie the Dogs down a bit here.
Bulldogs just going to take a moment here to see if they can get the ball back in their hands now that they've got a free kick. Get the ball back in their hands and look after it. They want to just take this pressure that's been put on them early in this second quarter away.
Yeah, and look, great work there by the Suns. They did set up quite well. So the Dogs were forced to go long down towards the boundary line, and as the contest went there, the Suns actually outnumbered them. So really good, and just shows that they've taken the scoreboard out of it, and they are concentrating on what they need to do out during play.
Looking at the Bulldogs forward line, it looks like they're pushing a couple of players up to get a few extra players around the contest. They've actually got one loose out the back there, so they're obviously adjusting, knowing that this quarter that they're going against the win, so they want to get a few more numbers around the contest, which is probably not a terrible move to make by Coach Fox.
As the Dogs come back through the middle through Osterberry, he goes long inside 50. It's a great intercept effort there by the Suns player. I'm not sure who that was. Lee Bennett was it? Yep. The ball spills out, picked up by Scudamala, was it? Handball's off. That's fumbled. Here's Allerton again. Allerton handballs towards Scudamala. He's at the top of the 50. Back towards Allerton. Can't quite get a handle on it. Osterberry handball out. Back to Allerton. Allerton's tackled at about 40 out. He breaks one. He gets a handball off again. Ball's just bobbling around. Nobody can get a clean possession. And the umpire's found a free kick, and it's going to the Dogs.
Really worked with the footy, kept at the ground. They had second, third chances there. The Dogs just didn't give up. They really didn't want to let that come out of their forward 50. So they've been rewarded for a really high pressure intensity, and now they'll be having a shot on goal through number 37, Callum O'Dwyer. Brett, senior assistant coach, what do you think here? Has he got the distance?
It'll take his best one. I'll tell you what. Nah, it's just faded. Just faded to the left.
Certainly no issue with the distance there.
That breeze is going to make it very tough for set shots on goal today, though.
You would think that the senior teams and the women, even for this afternoon, that they'd be down here at the moment taking a look at this and really adjusting their game plans towards the win, because it's certainly going to play a factor in this game. But I've been a part of the last 10 grand finals here at AFL Townsville, and I can tell you what, every grand final, it's always the same. We've always got that cross breeze, and I think it's key that you finish at the river end.
Yeah, as the Dogs go inside 50 again, there's a flying shot towards goal, but it's offline as well. And through for a minor score. So we've got it'll be 4-6-30 now, I believe, to 1 goal straight as the Suns look to go up the middle of the ground. Dangerous kick.
Very dangerous kick.
Off. Another shot at goal by the Dogs, and they've missed again.
One notable that I've taken out of the game so far, Brett, and we've already mentioned it once, but I think he's had a really good start to this quarter, is Cayman Elton. Since he's gone into the ruck, he's really impacting this game, and I think he right now you'd have to say he'd be up there as a favourite for the Eric Johns medal early.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny that you can have a makeshift ruckman go in and have such an influence. You know, obviously he wasn't the first choice ruckman, but he's, as I mentioned earlier, just become like an extra midfielder.
Brett, I'm just going to make mention, just having a look over the outside of the commentary box here, and the crowd is really starting to come in. It's great to see such a crowd at the AFL Townsville Grand Final. It's really good to see such a Northern Beaches following with them. Obviously one of the new amalgamated teams over the last 5 or 6 years. They've got a great following, and I know that they're proud that they're playing here in today's Grand Final. Oh,
look, it's been a great effort too. They've had a bit of a ride during the final series, haven't they? Because, as I mentioned earlier, they've won 2 games by under a kick in the 2 finals they've played. So.
And here they go, they're getting another inside 50 here. You've got Wasim Haddad, he's going up, he'll go for the mark, no.
Trend intercepts.
Experience there in Trend, goes back, he finds a Bulldogs player here, they're just going to get back on their terms, slow it down.
Yeah, we've got Purdy here, Purdy goes long towards the middle of the ground. Here's Allerton again.
He's been everywhere.
Now. He gets it back off Ryan, breaks the tackle, he's fallen to ground, he might be in trouble here.
Umpire Grubber calls it, holding the ball. Northern Beaches free kick through Jack Clark. I think before the start of this quarter, Brett, we spoke about Jack Clark and Noah Richardson stepping up, and I think this quarter they really have, especially Jack Clark. He's managed to have 4 or 5 touches early here, and he's starting to get a little bit of something going for the Suns.
Yeah, absolutely, and now I guess it's up to some other guys. I mean, we identified those 2 as being really important for the Suns, and they've just got to drag some others along with them now, and it can become contagious. So it's a good start by them.
Moffat again, he's been everywhere. He's another one he'd be up there in contention for the medal if you were to call the game now.
Yep, and he goes out wide to the wing there. Mark taken by the Bulldogs, in towards the middle, in towards Flynn Kelly. It goes over his head. Tony Burke picks it up, swings onto his left foot, and we've got Cooper Guest in acres of space on the half-forward flank. Plays on, looks inside 50, straightens up, and he's going for James Ryan over the back there, but just falls a bit short of Ryan into that breeze. Picked up again by Burke. He can't quite get a clean possession away. Handball again. Here's David Scott. He's kicked smothered really well by the Suns defender, and great pressure there, and forces a boundary throw in about 45 metres out from the Bulldogs goal.
Again, Jack Clark with pressure on the ball there. Really starting to step up here. I really hope the Suns can get a couple of quick goals here and make a game of this. It'll be a great finish if they can.
Yeah, look, they've definitely lifted. It just needs some reward for it as Clark gets another clearance, kicks out towards Aidan Johnson. Ball goes over his head with the breeze. Allerton's there. The ball bobbles around again. Picked up by Allerton. Handball into the middle. Bulldogs got some space again now as they look up and find Flynn Kelly, I believe it is. He's taken the mark inside the centre square. He looks up. What's he see? He's gone for Ryan again, but look, really well defended by the Suns. They managed a 3-on-1 there.
Suns, just a couple of skill errors here as they've had opportunities to rebound that inside 50, but a couple of skill errors have just kept the pressure on here.
Yeah, Moffat cleaned that up. There was a bit of a spillage there and the ball bobbling around, and Moffat picked it up and found the Bulldog target inside 50, and they've just chipped it over. They're probably about 20 out now on a bit of an angle with the breeze pushing the ball to the left. It's not going to be an easy shot, but it was well controlled by the Dogs there.
Yes, we're just having a couple of issues with our sound here. Just struggling to hear at the moment, but there we go. We've fixed it a bit now, so I do apologise for that. We do apologise if you're hearing too much wind come through the feed. It's kind of hard to avoid it at the moment. I have made mention of the wind numerous times. It's certainly blowing a gale, so you would think that that's having a big effect on this game. And
as I said, if the Suns can get a couple of goals here before they change for the third quarter, I think that's a real benefit for them.
Oh, good turnover here. Opportunity for the Suns. Trent took a great intercept mark off the kick out, and he's floated back and taken another intercept mark, Trent. He's got his hand up. He wants to slow the play down. Chips in towards the middle. That man again, Allerton, takes a mark. Uncontested, plays on. And there's the other one.
I think Ellerton's really been the key here. He's really kept the Dogs going in this second quarter. They're fighting the win, but he's had such clean use of the football.
It's his second efforts too, Brennan. He's he gets in a contest, and as the ball does happen sometimes, it becomes fumbly and hard to pick up when you're under pressure. But he's been really clean on the second and third efforts when he hasn't left himself out of the contest.
Guatemalia with a great mark there. He'll go back and have a shot here, you would think. No, he's going to look to pass it off. Bulldogs have got numbers everywhere.
Oh, yeah, they might be lucky there. Oh no, they've given a free kick away. Bit of a wasted opportunity there.
There was the umpire Andrew Grubber from the top of the 50 actually had another call, but Mal Gray, who had the better spot, called free kick.
Osterberry takes the mark, intercept, and look, goes inside 50, and Tony Burke's taking a mark here. I wouldn't have thought Tony Burke's had too many shots on goals in the latter part of his career. Generally spends a lot of time down in the back half of the ground.
He loves floating forward for a shot on goal.
I actually think he's gone forward, Brennan, since he came off the interchange. And he misses there to the right-hand side.
Suns really need to get a clearance out of the defensive 50 here and get their hands on footy up around the wings. That's where they're really good. The last few games that they've got those late victories has been through goals, through run and carry on the wings. That's where they go. They're out on the wing. They like to play wide. And they've got it here. If he's got the pace, he's got someone up forward.
Oh.
Really good body work by the Bulldogs there.
And Hollis cleans up for the Bulldogs on the defensive half of the ground. Kicks out towards the wing. The ball bounces towards the boundary line. Can the Suns player keep it in there? He can. Handballs to Kelly. Kelly just bangs it forward. Gets to get some territory. It's going towards the boundary line again. Hollis cleans it up. He looks inside. Goes for Johnson. Johnson takes the mark. He's going to switch again. And now they're in the back in the middle of the ground in their defensive 50. They play on, looking to get out to the far side of the ground, which they do. Here's Ostenberry. Ostenberry plays on, looks back in towards the corridor now, and he might have turned it over. I think he has, if the Suns can be clean here.
There's a rare skill error by Clinton Ostenberry there. He's a very good ball user. It's not often you see a skill error like that from him, so he'll want to make up for that on the next play, you would think.
Yeah, and the Suns get a shot on goal, and I think it was Hollis again down in the square there. He's just read it like a goalkeeper. Chips it around, the Dogs get control again. Oh no, they've dropped the mark. Here we go, inside 50 again.
And it's Josh Hollis again.
He's had a good couple of minutes, Hollis.
He does those things that you don't notice and you probably won't see on the feed, but he's a real general down back for him, and he's very, very smart. He's a veteran senior footballer coming towards the latter end of his career, so he's playing some reserve grade football now, but certainly don't underestimate the impact that he can have on this game today. Bulldogs get a bit of space here. They move the ball forward. They've got Osterbury with the ball in hand, and he's got acres of space there. He spots up Moffat. Moffat on top of the forward 50. He's going to have a shot. No, he's going to spot someone up. No.
It's David Scott there, I believe. He might get a high tackle here. No. Umpire put his whistle away. Spills out the back. The Suns have got it again. They need to be controlled here. Bangs outside 50. Good mark taken by Cooper Guest, who plays on. Bangs it inside 50 again.
He's had a good quarter here, Cooper Guest. He's had his hands on it a few times. And a couple of skill errors, but that's to be expected in a grand final. It happens. What he's doing really well, though, is just taking those intercept marks and getting it back inside forward 50 for the Bulldogs.
It's important 5 minutes here just to finish off this quarter. I mean, I don't think the Bulldogs have kicked a goal. So if the Suns can somehow get one and just get that little bit of belief and bit of momentum back their way, it might just be a really interesting second half for them.
Suns certainly look like they're starting to get a little bit more comfortable. They just need to get the clearance from their defensive 50 so they can get the ball in hand.
Looks like we're going to have a ball up inside the Bulldogs forward 50 there. We're only probably about 15 metres out from goal. Really dangerous spot. It's important that the Suns have switched on here and that there's no loose Bulldogs players, no one running through the stoppage.
14 minutes played in the second quarter of the 2021 Reserves Grand Final. Thuringowa Bulldogs 4 goals, 8 lead
The 4 goals, 8-32 lead the Northern Beaches Suns 1 goal 6. Today's coverage is brought to you by RMS Engineering and Construction. Suns, ball in hand. They're looking to just clear it outside of the defensive 50 here. They're looking for the boundary. They don't get it.
Purdy picks it up. Purdy's just trying to beat a couple here. He's handballed it off. The Suns have got the numbers though. If they can pick it up cleanly and get a handle on it, handball over. Oh no, I think it's McKinnon, is it? McKinnon's just banged it inside 50 and another intercept mark taken by the Suns defenders. And look, from this part of the ground, they really need to control it now. He goes in short and finds a player there, about 20 out from the Dogs' goal. Chips out wide to the wing. There's a spare player there. He just needs to pick it up and he's got some time. Looks up, hits towards the wing there. Drop mark there by the Suns playing. It's a turnover and here we go again. Back to Tony Burke.
Burke sends the ball inside 50. Bulldogs take a mark on top of the forward 50 here over on the top side wing. Osterbury's on his own. He's going to go back from about 50. Look to have it. No, he's going to play on. He's got a player in a much better position, and that's absolutely great play by Clinton Osterbury there.
Yeah, just on the turnover, it's really hurting the Suns on the turnover. Once the Dogs can control the football, they seem to be able to find easy free players a lot easier than what the Suns do at the moment. I think coming out of the back line at the moment, I'd like to see the Suns just go a little bit slower. They want to come really fast out of their back line, and it's not working for them. I think they'd be better off served if they can just create a contest, get some numbers to a contest, even if it is near the boundary line, and try and create another stoppage further afield.
Goal goes through there, so Suns are going to get an opportunity out of the centre bounce here. This is where the likes that we've spoken of Jack Clark, Noah Richardson, Gary Kelly really need to step up here and get a good clearance for the Suns and get a nice inside 50.
Yeah, and that was the question we asked earlier, wasn't it? Who, those two fellas that we mentioned, they really started this quarter well, and who was going to come along with them? Who was going to be one that just really stood up and helped those guys give some impetus to their team? And at the moment, they're probably doing a little bit by themselves, those two.
I think the Bulldogs have done a really good job so far structuring up from behind the play. You've got the likes of Josh Hollis, Clinton Ostenbury, Tony Burke, players that can really have a lot of experience and can really talk the younger guys into it. So they've got that. The Suns are just playing a little bit too fast at the moment. I think if they can slow it down and try and use the footy a bit better, they'll be putting themselves in a position in this game. But right now, the Bulldogs are winning everything based off the structure from behind the play.
Well, we've had a whistle and there's a bit of push and shove out there. I'm not sure which way this is going.
Motions are getting a little bit higher here. Oh, that was not the smartest move by Scott Drysdale. He was in the best for the Suns last week. You really can't afford to be doing things like that because you really don't want to see any yellow or red cards here. It could be very costly.
Oh, look, and we're 17 minutes has just ticked over for the quarter, and it's a really dangerous time to be giving away a free kick if that's in fact what he does. And yeah, look, there's a 50-metre penalty as well. So this is going to be a certain goal here to the Bulldogs.
It looks as though Scott Drysdale will be issued a card here. I'm unsure as to whether it's a red or a yellow. I believe it should be a yellow, but that's really disappointing for the Suns. He was in their best players last week, and it's not something that you want to see in a grand final. You want to keep your players on the field.
No, and it's just a composure thing too. I understand that there was a bit of push and shove and that sort of thing, but this late in the quarter, and look, generally any time during the game, but especially when it's late in the quarter and you've just given up one goal for the quarter, you could potentially go in at half-time and just reassess and reset and that sort of thing. But that sort of ill discipline, I guess, can be a little bit disheartening.
Yeah, I think we're getting to a stage in this game, Brett, where half-time can't come soon enough for the Suns.
Absolutely.
They certainly started the quarter well. They got a lot of run and carry. They got the ball in hands. They got some nice inside 50s, but they haven't been able to pressure the scoreboard. And now, as the quarter goes on, we're getting to 18 minutes into the quarter. The Bulldogs are just showing a little bit of class and experience around the contest and keeping it locked into their forward 50. So I think half-time is going to come very needed for the Northern Beaches Suns as the Bulldogs get another inside 50. No, siren's gone. We're going to half time. 6 goals, 8-44 for the Thuringowa Bulldogs, leading the Suns 1 goal 6. Brett, what's your take on the first half? Obviously the Bulldogs have played quite well, especially done most of their damage in the first quarter, but they still managed to put 3 goals on the board in that quarter, with 2 of them coming late.
Yeah, look, I think they only got 2 goals for the quarter, Brennan, and I think that whether that's conditions or whether it was the Suns just being a little bit smarter defensively, but and as we just mentioned, that last goal coming from a bit of ill discipline, it really does hurt when you've potentially had a good quarter defensively against what has been a pretty dominant display at times by the Thuringowa Bulldogs. Look, I think the Suns they've made some mistakes and they've probably fumbled at crucial moments, which is, they've had players on the outside, they've had players free, and they've just not been able to get a handle on the football to get any sort of linkage of play going. So important that they can just settle a little bit, and whether that's nerves, I don't know that the Suns have ever been on a stage like this before, so whether that's some nerves amongst some of their players or just being the conditions with a bit of wind or whatever, they really need to tidy that area up, and they might find that things can become a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, look, we're going to take a break here. We're going to go take probably a 5 to 7 minute break, and we'll be back and we'll have a bit more of a discussion about the second half very shortly. Today's game is brought to you by RMS Engineering and Construction.
welcome back to the coverage of the Townsville AFL Grand Finals today. We're going to take some time here during the halftime break of the reserve grade where the Thuringowa Bulldogs lead 6 goals 8-44 to the Northern Beaches Suns 1 goal 6. We're going to take some time to touch on the upcoming senior game. During the seniors halftime break, we'll obviously touch on the women's game, which is later tonight. Brett, Hermit Park Tigers matching up against Curra Swans. Sure to be a great game. They've split the games this year with Curra Swans winning 2 and the Hermit Park Tigers winning 2. So obviously today that makes for a great grand final. I'm looking forward to it. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, look, it's. I think the Tigers can set up behind the football. It's going to really help them. I think guys like Stanis Ajita and Rory Tarlington and these sort of guys that set up really well and take a lot of intercept possessions and get control back for the Tigers. If they're allowed to do that throughout the day, it's going to be a lot of time that the ball's spent in the forward half of the Tigers, because they do move it quite well, and they move it quite fast at times. So on the flip side of that, I'm really interested to see what the Tigers do as far as defending the corridor of the ground today, because Curra will use 10, 15, 20 metre possessions, 25 metre kicks to players that can play on and try and move the ball through that area really quickly. A win for the Tigers would be if they can force Curra Swans to kick long down the line a lot today, because then their intercept players become important. And obviously, on the other side of that, if Curra can get that ball through the middle of the ground at speed, those defenders for the Tigers are going to have to be a lot more accountable.
Yeah, I think both sides, looking at the team list today, I think both sides are essentially at full strength. Obviously the Tigers lost early in the year their co-captain Declan Woad to a broken leg and dislocated ankle, so that was obviously a big loss for them to take, but they've managed to get through without him throughout the year. And towards the back end of the season, the Curra Swans lost who you would think would have to be a WJ Williams league medal favourite in Ty Orton. So I think with the two sides that are going out today, it sets for a great contest. Obviously the Tigers have brought in a couple of notable ins that they haven't had for a few weeks in Stanis Ajita and Corey Wedding, but I think the main one, the big talking point today, is big Benji Lynch coming back in from a shoulder injury, and he'll be lining up at full forward today. I think he's the key to the Tigers getting across the line.
Yeah, and it's funny, look, obviously the Bulldogs played the Tigers last week, and seeing those additions to the Tigers team today, it gives a bit of a different feel about them. They actually look a lot taller. With the conditions we've got today, and from what we've seen with the first half of the reserves game here, the ball potentially is going to spend a bit of time on the ground just through skill errors because of this win. So whether that becomes an advantage or a disadvantage, I guess we'll wait and see. But there definitely is a different makeup and different look to the Tigers this week compared to the preliminary final.
I think the key players for the Curra Swans today, you would have to be thinking that Dale Shivers will play a big impact on the game. Also, Kobe Dubman, Captain Kurt Poole, a couple of big name players for the Swans that really, if they step up today, they're going to put a lot of pressure on for the Tigers.
Oh, look, and I'd add Mitch Dennis and Sean Nicholson to that list too, Brennan. They're very classy players, and look, they're not all the same. They've got some similar traits, those guys, but Shivers' ability to go forward and play as a tall. He's a big man. To be able to go forward and play as a tall and give him a real key focal point up there is huge for the Curra Swans. So, with Dudman and Nicholson and these sorts of guys around the stoppages, I think that's there could be an advantage there for the Curra Swans because they are such classy players. But it's going to be I'm really looking forward to see how it goes and just how each team is going to try and attack this one, because obviously they've been even throughout the year. So is someone going to come with a point of difference? We'll have to wait and see.
I agree with the comment you made in regards to Mitch Dennis. I think I've got him put down on paper today as the X factor for the Swans. I think he can really influence the game. I think he may match up down back. He might line up on the likes of league-leading goal kicker Jason DeBetta, but unsure on what Coach Fogg may do with him today. But I think he definitely has the ability to be the X factor. Who do you think will be the Tigers' X factor today?
Oh, look, it could be a number of players. I think, obviously the obvious one that springs to mind first is Callaway Parker. He's a goal-kicking midfielder. He's a really dynamic player. He can explode out of stoppages. He can take high marks. He's got a lot going for him, Callaway, and if he can put it all together on the big stage, he could go a long way to getting the Tigers over the line. Players like Jason DeBetter have been here before, knows what grand finals are like. He's a proven goal kicker on grand final day. Players like that, you really look to make sure they step up and have an influence.
Jason DeBetter lining up in his 8th grand final today. It should be 9, but he's actually missed one through injury, and his current rate in the grand final is 5 wins out of 8 grand finals, and he's also taken away the Rico Butler Best on Ground award a couple of years ago. So I think he's a quite achiever in regards to leading his troops and having a big influence on today's game, possibly. Another one that I think could take control of today's game from the Curra Swans is Jack Guzmaroli. He's coming in under a little bit of an injury cloud from what I've heard around the traps, but I've seen him play throughout the year, and you would think that should his injury not have occurred, he'd definitely be up there as a favourite for the league medal.
Yeah, he's a really hard matchup because Morali, he's quick and he's pretty strong, and he's a penetrating sort of player. He's the kind of player that gets the ball, and can be a 50, 60, 70 metre play by the time he runs and kicks that ball long. So really important that the Tigers don't let him get off the chain there. But as you said, he's going to be crucial to Curra Swans this afternoon as well.
X factor for the Tigers. Before we just get underway in the reserves, I think the X factor for the Tigers is young 16-year-old Xavier Cameron.
Look, he had a ripper game last week in the preliminary final. In that first half was he was so dynamic out on the wing and gave them so much momentum and found some time and space out there. So if he can continue that form as a young fella, he's going to be a really important player for the Tigers too. Umpire
Mel Gray getting the second half of the reserves grand final underway here. Suns get the tap early. Gary Kelly gets hands on the footy. He spills it out. Suns look to get the clearance here. If they can get another early one, they do, and they send it forward down 50. It's an intercept mark from Clint Osterbury down back.
Yeah, look, I don't know where the Suns forward there went. He must have gone straight up to the stoppage, and he's just left Osterbury by himself. So can't afford to do that. We need to just be a bit smarter how we play here, the Suns.
Suns need to be very mindful. I think late in that second quarter, Clinton Osterbury started getting off the leash a little bit. He's getting a lot of space. I can see him now. He's just pushing up the ground from centre half back. He's just on his own. He's certainly getting into a bit of space, and he can be a little bit damaging when he gets space and the ball in hand.
Yeah, look, you don't want him setting up the play, do you, really? You want him to be contested every time he goes near the football. So as a Suns forward, if you've got to lock down on him a little bit more, here he is again. No, that's Moffat. Moffat's got the ball. If you can lock down on him a little bit and just make a contest every time he's in the vicinity of the football, it's going to help you.
Cooper Guest looks to go forward here, puts it inside 50. He's got Scartamalia. No, Scartamalia, it goes to ground. It looks like we're going to get a stoppage here. Bulldogs will set up, try and put some pressure and lock it in here.
Yeah, so look, and just looking behind the football now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Bulldogs players all by themselves. So even if the Suns do win a clearance here, it's going to be really tough for them to get clean ball out. Their best hope would be to try and get near the boundary line, I think, if they win this.
And that's where your experienced players like Gary Kelly really need to be aware, and he needs to be looking behind and making sure he's pulling players in on those players that are getting behind the play on their own.
But what it does too, Brennan, when the outnumber happens behind the football like that, it actually forces the Suns forwards to come up so that they know that they're creating a contest then, and you kind of lose your forward structure out of all of that. So your midfielders and wingers and half-back flankers, they need to be really aware. If that's getting set up behind the footy, then perhaps they don't need to be at that contest.
Bulldogs get a free kick for holding the ball here. They look to put a bit of pressure on and go inside 50 again.
Yeah, David Scott, he's gone inside. He's just two Suns fly against each other there. They've won the ball on the deck there, and they've kicked it out wide towards the wing. Here, clean possession. Oh, he's ducked his head. He's gone, I think. That's going to be holding the football by the Suns player. So free kick here to the Bulldogs on the grandstand side of the ground. Young Tom Jeeves here. He's going back to take his kick. There's something on in the middle. Yeah, he looks inside. Finds Johnson, does he? Yep, takes the mark.
Suns really lacking that key forward option today when they've actually had a few opportunities to go forward. And one of the notable omissions that unfortunately can't play today was Dylan Menti. He's been instrumental for the Suns in their finals charge over the last 2 games. He's had a really good couple of games, and obviously he's not here today, so that's a little bit of a disappointing one for the Suns. But they've got Wasim Haddad, who's had a pretty good influence on the last few games also, so he's stepped up as a key forward for them today. They just need to get some use and get the ball down to him, and if they can do that, I'm sure he can put some pressure on.
Yeah, and we were talking about X factors before for the senior game this afternoon, and Menti probably provides this Suns team with that. He's one of those guys that can just bob up, and you look at the end of the game, he's got 4 goals, and you might only look at him and you think he's only had about half a dozen touches. So he's that type of player. So yeah, I'm sure the Suns will be sorely missing him today.
Scott Amali has just taken a mark inside 50. He's lining up for a shot on goal here. This one will give him his 2nd or 3rd for the day if he kicks this.
Yeah, looks like he's got it there, Brennan. So good start again from the Bulldogs for this 3rd quarter. What are we, nearly 4 minutes in by the time the ball goes in the air again. They've just extended their lead, 7-8-50 to 1 goal straight to the Suns.
I think it's time for the Suns to really get some more numbers around the contest and really start clogging it up, slowing the Bulldogs down, and if they can chip away and grind it out and get a couple of goals, that would certainly play to their advantage. However, they just can't let the Bulldogs keep getting the space and putting pressure on going forward.
Well, we've got to try something, don't you? You're now 44 points down into the 3rd quarter. I think even if you throw and bring your half forward flankers up and push them behind the football for a minute, and just make sure that the mindset is and the instruction is just to control the footy when you can. Take a bit of time off the clock, get the ball in your hands, and just see if you can gain some momentum that way. I think if you just keep going along like this, I think the Dogs are finding it easy with the way things are at the moment.
As I spoke about before, the experienced players that the Bulldogs have, they've obviously Austenbury and Hollis and Tony Burke. They've certainly got some experience that are really controlling the game, and that's probably one area that, unfortunately for the Suns, they just lack a little bit of experience. They've got a very, very young side in today, so I think on a grand final, experience is very important, and I think if they can just slow it down and try not to play so fast, they might be able to get a little bit more on their terms.
Yeah, and those 3 guys you mentioned, I don't know the exact numbers, but there's probably up around 900 games between those 3 at least. So, it's a lot of experience, and if you're putting them behind the football, you're going to make sure that your teammates are in great positions more often than not. So, it's really important that those guys set up well and give that instruction.
And we cannot forget, the Bulldogs have gone through this season undefeated, so the Suns have certainly come into this game knowing that the Bulldogs are a classy outfit.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
As we spoke about, here's Hollis from behind the play. He cleans up. He's got the ball. He gets it out. Nice hands.
Yeah, Jeeves has got it. Handball's out the back to Johnson. Handball's out the back again to Evans. And there's a player on the far side here with a bit of space. I think that's McKinnon. He plays on as well. Looks up inside 50. He's got some targets there. He goes for and finds David Scott. It comes off his hands. It's cleaned up by the Suns defender. And he's gone to the far side as well and finds his target, who plays on again. So the Suns are trying to move it fast here. There's a bit of grass in front of him. If they can win a possession here, they might get a look in.
They are trying to play fast here, Brett, but I think the problem that they're having is because their pressure has been on so much, they've pushed a number of players up to help in the defensive 50, and when they do get that break and the run and carry, that they're just lacking those numbers ahead of the footy to go to. So it's coming down to a one-on-one, and it's going to end up being a foot race.
Yeah, and that's what I was pointing out before with the stoppage in the Bulldogs 50 and the setup that they had behind the football. It just forced the Suns forwards to come up, and they just lose all sense of structure. Then you're almost rolling on the dice when you go forward in that scenario. So just need to get a bit more nous around when there is a stoppage and make sure they're covering everything off so they can keep that forward structure, give themselves a chance. 7
minutes played in the 3rd quarter here, and the wind is starting to drop off, so it might open up the second half a little bit here.
Let's hope so. Here we go. The ball comes out again towards Austenbury. He's sort of got his head over it. He's off it now. The Suns players picked it up. Oh, he's well tackled there. Austenbury picks it up. Handballs towards O'Dwyer. Moffat's there. Kicks it off the ground towards Kelly. Kelly picks it up. He's got about 10 metres of space. He looks up to try and find Ryan. And the ball spills out of bounds pretty much right on the 50-metre line there towards the Dogs forward line.
Stoppage inside Dogs forward line here. Suns starting to push a few more players up. A couple of players with hands on hips here, Brett. Do you think they're starting to feel a little bit of pressure in regards to the pace that they're trying to play that's probably starting to have a bit of effect on them in regards to fatigue?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think, the Bulldogs have probably controlled a lot of the football in this game, and it means you're doing a lot of chasing when that's happening. You're doing a lot of second efforts, third efforts, that sort of thing. So when you're not getting the reward for it, as we see the Dogs just pop through another fairly easy goal there from the goal square, when you're doing a lot of that second and third efforts and you're not getting the reward for it, the fatigue can come quite early.
As we've got a replay on the screen here, we'll have a look at this goal. Just a little bit of a scrap inside 50, and Dogs managed to keep their feet, which obviously gets him the advantage, and he just goes through and puts it through. Yeah,
another experienced player there in David Scott too. So it was unfortunate the Suns player sort of went down in the contest there and lost his footing, and it was a pretty easy goal in the end.
You have to take your hats off to the Northern Beaches Suns. Obviously, at this stage in the game, it's not going their way, but they certainly have the biggest crowd in the stadium at the moment, and their crowd is certainly showing how much pride they have in the jumper, and they're definitely not writing them off yet.
No, and it's great to see. Obviously, they've had junior teams playing a lot of finals over the years, and it's good to see that they've been able to get a senior team to the big dance. At the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to go their way, but look, I'm sure they'll grow from it, and I'm sure that they'll see it as a really successful season for them too.
Bulldogs just got it out on the top side wing here. He's got Austinbury, who's moved from the centre half back. He's moved up onto the wing. Now he's got it with space. He looks to just slow it down, get the ball in hand. They're going to get good inside 50 here, you would think. No, they spill it to the ground. Suns put a bit of pressure on, and they're going to return fire with a ball out on the wing. Gary Kelly, he'll certainly be looking to go inside 50.
Yeah, it goes to the top of the square, but the Suns players dropped an easy mark, and now look at the numbers. It's 6 on 2 there, 6 on 3 now. They'll be doing really well if they could just get a stoppage here, the Suns.
Skill error is just hurting the Suns a little bit here, Brett. I think when they get to that 75 out, they've just really got to get that ball forward. They've just got to put it in there and give themselves a chance and put the pressure on.
Oh, look, and that's the right thing. And look, that's a great kick there to find a player, and he's going to have a shot from about 40 metres out, I'd say, and push into that breeze with his kick. So, hopefully this one goes through for the Suns and they can get up and about.
Really big goal for the Suns' psyche here, you would think. 10 minutes played in the third. If he can kick this, I think it just gives them a glimmer of hope going in for the rest of the game. Unfortunately, he kicks that one out on the full.
Yeah, just hanging a bit too far out to the right there, just hoping the breeze was going to bring it back in, and kind of just held its line, to be honest.
Bulldogs take the kick out. They've found someone in the middle there, and he's just going to go back, slow it up. That wind has just picked up. It's probably the biggest wind we've had all day, so they really just try and get the footy in hand and control the play here.
Yeah, as Evans takes the mark and looks out wide, but it's intercepted by the Suns.
Jack Clark
has a shot on goal, and it's gone through for a minor score. Evans has been pretty good these last the last 2 quarters, I think, Brennan. He's sort of unassuming in his role there on a half-back flank, but he gets involved in a lot of link-up play. So
certainly has had an influence so far in this second half. That's not to be discounted.
That's a great kick by Trent under pressure. He finds David Scott, swings onto his left, and guess who it is again? It's Austinbury. The ball's going to try and get out the bounds. No, he's kept it in. Gets past the Suns player, looks inside 50, and he's turned it over. There's a good intercept mark there. The Suns player had to hedge his bets a little bit. He had to go between 2 Bulldogs, and he's done well, and he's picked it off and taken the mark.
This wind has just picked up dramatically, Brett.
Yeah, and we're on the wrong side of the ground, aren't we, as far as the play at the moment, because it's really hard to get that ball back into the corridor and give yourselves an opportunity to score.
Hayden Littlejohn with the intercept mark here. He's got space. He's looking to get it back into the middle. That's where they need to go with this win. They want to get off this boundary.
Yep, absolutely. Great kick, and they're just keep going that side of the ground now. There's a skill error there by the Suns player, and it's intercepted by the Dogs again. Still fighting out on the wing there. It looks like Flynn Kelly, that is, for the Bulldogs. He picks it up. He's going to get run down. Oh, he's got through to the handball. The umpire calls play on. Picked up by Burke. Handball again. Here we go. The Dogs are linking up through the middle of the ground, and there's a big tackle, but it's been given too high.
Suns really need to get a few numbers back here. Bulldogs have got players pushing through the middle of the ground on their own.
Yeah, one of them's Johnson. He's just taken another uncontested mark. He's done that a few times today. He looks up to go inside 50. He just goes short to the top of the 50 there, and Scott takes a mark again.
Scott's had a really big influence so far in this third quarter.
Yeah, look, and another experienced player like we were talking about before. Swings onto his left foot, and he's got Burke out there by himself almost, but the Suns close down the space. Here's Moffat, I think it is, handballs it out, and it's just spilled out the back. Suns have got it again. They come to this defensive side of the ground, the grandstand side. Ball sits up.
He sells the candy.
There's a great bit of candy and a great vision there to find Kelly for the Suns. Kelly keeps the ball moving, seeing straight lines. Cambosis goes up and smacks the ball away. Great defensive punch. Allerton again, handballs into the middle.
That's where the Suns have really just lacked a little bit of opportunity there. They've had a couple of plays where they've managed to get that clearance from the defensive 50, but they're just lacking those numbers ahead of the footy, and they've just got no one to go to.
Yeah. And goes forward 50 again towards Scudamalia. Ball comes to ground. The Suns player tries to sell the candy again. He's wrapped up this time, but gets a handball away. And it trickles out of bounds for a boundary throw in about 45 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal.
Umpire will throw the ball in here. We've just got players forming. A couple of Bulldogs players out the back on their own here. Dangerous spot for them to be. Suns really need to get on their bike and get up and man up here.
Well, it just allows them to control the game, doesn't it? If they're allowed to just set up there and have spares. So, yeah, I'd like to see the Suns just making sure that they've got guys man on man almost in this situation at every opportunity.
Ball comes in. Suns look to get the clearance here. They really need a clearance here. They take the pressure off them. Umpire's called push in the back. Bulldogs free kick. It's going to go in the way of Frank Scudamalia. He's been lively today up forward. Hasn't been able to get too many to go through, but he's certainly had an impact up there.
Yeah, he's been a big target, hasn't he? He's certainly brought the ball to ground when the ball's come in his area if he hasn't taken a mark. So, but I'd say this is probably his third or fourth shot on goal today too, Breno. So he's had a bit of an impact.
With this breeze, I'm not sure that he's going to get this one through, but he's got a beautiful kick and he's going to prove me wrong.
That was a pretty good kick, wasn't it? And punching into that breeze from this side of the ground, and he's put that through easily.
Brett, 15 minutes played in the third quarter. We've got to probably start looking at who's going to win the Eric Johns medal for best on ground. Right now, as we speak, I think it's probably, the first half, I would say the first half was all Cayman Elton's. This half, it's probably started to change. He's sort of phased out of the game a little bit. Is there anyone else that you think could be challenging Cayman for the medal?
Yeah, well, I think Moffat Douglas has had a really good, pretty consistent game. I think Austinberry's, he's probably come into his own since he's gone back in that half-back line. So he's given him a lot of drive, a lot of impetus, a lot of option too, Austinberry. So, yeah, look, it's going to be tough to call, really. But I think those three guys have given the Bulldogs the most impetus through the game.
Bulldogs clear it out of the defensive 50. They've got numbers out here and they've got space.
Yeah, Flynn Kelly picks up and look at the Dogs running. Look at Austinberry's just run off again from that half-back line and he might get involved here. No, we go inside 50. I think that's McKinnon down there. He looks to go short and finds
Moffat again.
Yeah, Moffat Douglas. So, look, those I think pretty sure Moffat Douglas started in that last centre bounce and he's found his way forward unmarked and he's going to have a shot now. He's probably about 45 out, but if you're going to have one from that distance today, that's probably the spot you want with the way that wind's going.
Certainly the spot to have a shot from distance is out on that top side wing going river end.
Goes towards goal. I think he's got it. I think he's put that through. That's a good kick.
Two big goals from the Bulldogs here. Really just starting to put this one probably a little bit out of reach of the Suns, but the Suns are certainly playing with pride still.
Yeah, absolutely, and look, and it's a learning curve for them too. A lot of these guys, as I've mentioned during the broadcast about just making sure we don't allow people to set up behind the football, players to set up behind the football, and you give yourselves an opportunity if you're coming out of your D50 to link up and have another possession further afield. So I'm sure they'd, if they get the opportunity to review this sort of thing, going forward, you'd like to see that happen and make it more of a contest more often.
17.5 minutes played here as the umpire puts it back in play. Thuringowa Bulldogs 10-8-68 lead the Northern Beaches Suns 1-1-7.
As Allerton comes out of the middle again, he handballs to David Scott. Goes inside 50, flips over the back, and Ryan's there. He picks it up, handballs it off. They're going to run in another one here.
And he's kicked the goal. That's 3 quick goals by the Bulldogs, and you would think this is where they're starting to run away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. The Suns players now, look, and it can be a tough time when it's a grand final and the scoreboard looks the way it does, but I'm sure being the first time they've been here for a long, long time, they're gonna really want to fight it out and get a bit of pride, a bit of respectability, and make sure that they don't just hand it over.
We've got to bear in mind, Brett, they only won 6 games throughout the season and they managed to scrape into the finals, and then when they got to the finals, they've managed to claw their way through and get to the grand final. So they've certainly got to keep their heads held high.
Absolutely, and look, you look at the 2 finals that they played, and I think we mentioned earlier that they won them in the last couple of minutes of each game, and they would have been gone in both of those games as underdogs as it was, so you can't knock what they've achieved, especially during this final series. And I'm sure that they'll grow from it and they'll get something out of it as far as as a club. Get some confidence that going forward they know they compete.
Suns get an inside 50 here. We've got umpires called a free kick. It's going the way of the Suns, and it'll be in the hands of Gary Kelly. Gary Kelly will make a good decision with the footy here, you would think.
Yeah, I'd like to hope so. He's just looking in. He's going long now. He's going deep towards the goal square. They go up, well defended there by the Bulldogs, and Tommy Jeeves bangs it on the boot, just throws it on really, and the siren goes for 3/4 time.
Thuringowa Bulldogs 11 goals, 8-74, lead the Northern Beaches Suns 1 goal, 1-7. We'll take a short break. Today's coverage is brought to you by RMS Engineering and Construction. Welcome back to the Townsville AFL Reserve Grade Grand Final. Thuringowa Bulldogs 11 goals, 8-74, lead the Northern Beaches Suns 1 goal, 1-7. Obviously today hasn't gone the way of the Northern Beaches Suns, Brett, but they are certainly not giving up yet. They're going to go out and they're going to fight out this last quarter. They've got pride on the line. They're here in the grand final. It's such an achievement for them to get here. Knocking off the Hermit Park Tigers in the first week of the finals with a goal in the last 30 seconds of the game, and then they did the same thing against Curra Swans last week to get them through to a grand final.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you've made it to grand final day, and the scoreboard doesn't look great for them at this point. But you'd like to think the coaches are out there just telling them there's still things to achieve here. You can't just float through this next 20 minutes of football and go, oh, well, we had a really good effort and we got lucky and got there. You're here now. You may as well learn something because, years to come you might get back here again, and you want to make sure that you've got something in the memory bank to say that you can compete on the day and and give yourselves a shot at winning.
What does Coach Fox from the Thuringowa Bulldogs, what message does he give to the Dogs here? Obviously, they're looking at a near on a 70-point lead. You don't want to go out in the last quarter. You're probably not going to lose that lead. Fair chance you're not going to lose it, but you also don't want to go out and let yourself down.
Yeah, look, if I was Foxy, mate, I'd be just making sure that the experienced players that we've spoken about during the broadcast, just keep making sure that they can keep guys' mind on track while they're out there. I mean, it's 20 minutes of footy. You'd have to say at this stage, when you're almost 70 points up at three-quarter time, that you've got the game in the bag. But yeah, especially for the first 5 or 10 minutes of this quarter, you just don't want to see some silly mistakes or guys just getting a bit ahead of themselves and thinking about maybe the next hour's time what that feeling's going to be like. So just making sure that they stay on track and they really finish it off and finish off what's been a pretty dominant season, I think, too. So yeah, that's what I'd be doing if I was Foxy.
I think going into this last quarter, Brett, you've got to be looking at the Eric Johns medalist, and I think at this stage, personally, I would be going with Cayman Elton. I thought that when Jared Gilroy went down early, they slotted him into the ruck position, and he has had a major influence on this game. Probably phased out a little bit in that last quarter, but he has had a big influence and been very consistent over the course of the game.
Absolutely, and it looks like he's been pushed forward now, and Trent's gone into the ruck, but his efforts when he went in there, and we mentioned it during the broadcast as well, he was like an extra midfielder, really, with his link-up play and his second and third efforts from stoppages. So it really gave him momentum in that area when the game was up for grabs early. So there's been some good players. I think Moffat Douglas has had a great game. I think
here he is. He's about to go back and have a shot on goal. Does Moffat Douglas?
Yeah, we mentioned before that when he goes forward, he can be a really hard matchup because he's a pretty strong-bodied guy, and you put both too small on him, and he's going to get out-bodied. And if you go too big on him, he's probably going to be a bit agile. So
Moffat Douglas having a shot on goal from about 40 out. Be fitting for him to kick a goal. He's had a great game today.
Yeah, it looks like he's got it too.
It's a great goal from Moffat Douglas. It's just caps off a really good day by him.
He's been consistent, hasn't he? Whether he's been forward or in the midfield, he seems to have found a way to have an impact when it's his turn to. So, yeah, probably another one too, mate, to speak about for that Eric Johns medal.
Going to get another centre bounce here. You'd think the Suns are going to try and get a clear. They want to get a clearance here and try and get a little bit of ball in hand and just get something back on the board. They haven't kicked a goal since the first quarter. They're not going to want to finish with that first goal of the game that they kicked. They're going to want to put a little bit more of a score on the board.
Yeah, it's a long day, isn't it? You want to get some reward now. So you just want to make sure you're sticking to the task and give yourselves the opportunity. They've had a great run in the finals up until now, and be ashamed to throw it away, having kicked the first goal of the game, and then not lie down, but sort of deprive yourselves of opportunities, I guess, because of some effort during the rest of the game.
They're certainly not going to lie down, Brett. The excitement they showed last week after they obviously won the game against Curra Swans to advance to the grand final, with all of their supporters on the sideline running out onto the ground, was a really nice fitting thing to see for a club that has battled to get themselves into a position to compete for a grand final and finally get there. Yeah,
and absolutely, and we just saw a great example of that. We had a young Cooper Guest running into an open goal almost in the Dogs forward line, and he got ran down by two Suns players. So they've certainly not put the cue in the rack. That's evident.
Really good inside 50 here, and they're going to have a shot on goal, and he's kicked one.
That's a good goal too. And that's the reward I talk about, mate. When you had two guys run down a fella, they could have just watched him, that Cooper Guest, just run in from 30 out, have a shot on goal. But the two Suns guys got over there and put a lot of pressure on him and won the free kick as a holding the footy. And then 2 or 3 kicks later, they snap a goal through, and that's the reward. If those two blokes don't go and put that pressure on him and just allow him to waltz in and have a shot on goal, those sorts of things don't happen, and that's really important, I think, when you've had a day like they have.
I believe it was Billy Clark that kicked that goal.
It was a nice little snap, wasn't it?
It was very good. I thought it was set up very well with the inside 50, where they finally got into a bit of space and they managed to get a very settled, comfortable inside 50. Went to ground. Obviously, once it went to ground, they kept their feet, they kept it in play, and they managed to get a nice snap
Yeah.
for goal.
Let's see if we can get another one. Let's cheer him on, Brendan.
I hope they can kick another couple. I hope they finish this game happy with the way that they've played.
Well, we've got a free kick in the middle here from the ruck contest, and they've got an opportunity.
Lee Bennett spills that one.
Drops the mark, goes back, tries to butter up, he's tackled. Ball spills out again. Well, a little kick off the ground was really good there. The other Dogs have got some link-up play going through the middle. Trend handballs off. Flynn Kelly kicks inside 50 towards Moffat again. It goes over the back. Who's there? Looks like Tongi's there. Ball spills over and goes out of bounds. We'll have a throw in right next to the behind posts.
That was a really good passage of play coming through the corridor by the Bulldogs. That's the style of play that they like to play. That wind has died off a fair bit here in this quarter, and that's the class that they show that they can play with.
Yeah, and it all started just from there was a contest on the ground, and it was just a knock on. That's how it started, and the Bulldogs had the space. They had guys on the outside, and from that knock on, it just clean possession, and all of a sudden you're away. So
Bulldogs got numbers out the back of this clearance, and he's used him. He's put it to the top of the square. Tony Burke has a shot on goal, and he's kicked it. Tony Burke with the goal. He's been playing forever and a day, and it's very rewarding for him to go back and get himself a goal there.
Yeah, an interesting move too, because haven't seen him play most of the year. He's played a lot in the back line pretty much all year, and I think he started in the back line today, and then he went off and had his first spell, and then since he's come back on, he's been up forward. So obviously there wasn't a match up there for him down the back half that Coach Fox liked. So he spent his day up forward and it's just finished off with a goal.
He absolutely bleeds for this club. He's been playing for the club for many years. He's obviously a former president. He's coached the senior side. He's done this, that and everything for the Thuringowa Bulldogs. So it's fitting for him to go out and kick a goal in a grand final that looks as though they're going to win.
Yeah, and as we go back in the middle again, and Trent wins the hit out, and here's Allerton. He's just going to pump that ball back inside 50 again. Looks like Scudamala's going to crash a pack, but no, he just pulls up a little bit short. Handball's out to Tongi, who fumbles, gets it back, Tongi, and he's going to have a shot from out near the scoreboard, and he's missed it.
I think that clearance there was led by Cayman Allerton. I think a couple of touches here in this fourth quarter. I'm not sure which way the umpires will go, but you would think a couple of touches in this quarter by Allerton, and he should be able to tie up the 2021 Eric Johns best on ground.
Yeah, well, it's good to see. I mean, he's starting as a high half forward, Allerton, at the moment, as he's coming out of that ruck, and for his intent and effort to really push in from that centre bounce and get involved in that contest just shows that he hasn't checked out of the game yet. He's not looking towards the premiership medal just yet. He just wants to keep playing the game.
Yeah, it looks as though we've got a big crowd starting to form with the senior games obviously not too far away. We're only about 35-40 minutes away from the senior game, and I must say over the last 10 years it looks as though this could be one of the bigger crowds I've seen here, Brett. Yeah,
it's great, isn't it? And having such a diverse, I think just about every club's represented here, which is fantastic. So they're always going to get a bigger crowd when that's the case, but it's a great day of footy for AFL Townsville.
Absolutely. Gary Kelly takes a mark out on the top side wing here. He's going to look to get it inside 50 here and give him another opportunity at goal. Wazeem Haddad's there. He's got to put the pressure on here.
Cambos just gets the clear and kick out towards the half-back flank. I think that's Evans out there. He's happy to run that ball out of bounds and let everyone set up where they want to go again.
Brett, you've been a senior coach. You've coached premierships here in Townsville before. What are the senior players thinking now? Obviously, they can see the score when they're down in the tunnel. They come out and check it. They can see the score. They can see that this game's obviously blown out, and they want to make sure that it doesn't happen to them. What's going through their mind right now?
Oh, look, there'll be some nerves. There's both teams have got experienced players that have been here before, and everyone's preparation's different. But there's always going to be those guys that are really nervous before a game, and it probably helps them in a sense today that the two teams playing in the senior grand final, they don't have representatives out here playing in the reserves, so they can actually just probably go a little bit more inwards and focus rather than seeing what their mates and seeing how their mates are going out there in the reserve grade. So Look, and what you want to do is just keep it as normal as possible. The nerves and that will be there. The guys, they've probably thought about this game, for a week, if not longer, for some of them. So, it can be hard. It can be hard to try and keep it as normal as possible. But I think that's where the coaching staff come into it and don't do anything out of the ordinary. You've got here because you've done things a certain way all year. Just because it's the big dance doesn't mean it changes.
Bulldogs just had a really nice passage of play there, and they've managed to get some numbers free in the forward 50, and now they're lining up for goal through Matthew Trend. He's actually had a pretty good game here today, Matthew Trend.
And I'd be expecting if he kicks this goal, he's going to put a celebration on because he loves kicking a goal. He thinks he's a forward, and he's missed it. So we've missed out on an opportunity there, I think, Brennan. I would have loved to have seen on the replay what he got up to if he kicked that.
Well, let's rally home. I hope he gets one to finish the game off. The Bulldogs do have a player injured out on the far wing there.
Yeah.
Not sure who that is.
I didn't see that either. So he doesn't seem to he's moving around. It might be a leg type thing, I'd say, but just looking at him. But as the Suns come through the middle again, they've got high ball towards half forward. Ball bounces, Cambosis, he's going to get tackled. No, he breaks the tackle, the big fella, and he finds Flynn Kelly out on the wing. Will the ball sit up here for Flynn, or will it bounce out of bounds? He's got it.
Young Flynn Kelly has had a very lively second half out on the wing.
He's a great runner, mate. He gets himself in a lot of good positions. Unfortunately, he's turned it over by foot that time, but his running ability is what gets him a lot of football.
Gary Kelly from the Northern Beaches Suns, he's tried his heart out today. He's managed to get his hands on the footy a bit, but they just haven't been able to get that nice inside 50 and take the marks inside 50.
Yeah, look, he's probably been their best. He's probably been their most consistent over the course of the game. So as we see the free kick getting pulled out here for a holding the ball decision, and the whistle's gone again. What's happening here?
A little bit of a scrap here. It's we're at that point in the game where obviously the Suns will be getting a little bit frustrated, but
no, I think that's been reversed, has it? No. Anyway, it's gone out wide. Hollis has got it. He looks inboard. Doesn't pull the trigger on that one.
He's called the umpire into that, but it is a deserving 50 metres. You can't move on the mark.
Yeah, no. Well, the guy, I think the Suns guy is saying, "Well, I'm not standing on the mark. I came behind it."
And the umpire's let that one go.
He went inboard towards Cayman Ellerton. Ball gets dropped. Ellerton goes back to lay a tackle. It's a fumble again, and Ellerton's tackled him. Ball spills out.
Noah Richardson, he's been lively here in the last few minutes. Probably one of their key players coming into the game, and the Bulldogs have done a really good job to try and keep him quiet. He's had patches throughout the game where he's being able to get involved, but I think the Bulldogs have done a pretty good job of taking him out of the game.
Yeah, short kick goes towards O'Dwyer. It goes over his head. There's a 3-on-1 here for the Suns if they can just get control. O'Dwyer stays in the contest and actually wins it. Ball spills out though again. There's a tackle on Richardson. The players come through from the pack for the Suns. He bangs it inside, but a mark taken. Good intercept mark taken there by the Bulldogs.
We've got a little bit of a scrap on the wing here, and I think it's slowing up the play here because the players have got no one to go to because all of the players have just gone in and started the fight.
Yeah, well, as a result, Moffat's just taken an uncontested mark on the defensive side of the wing. Goes inboard towards Allerton, who takes a good contested mark again. He's going to switch it out to that top side, the attacking side of the ground. It's a bit of a mung kick, but might come off here for the Bulldogs with a bit of pace out there. But no, look, the Suns have done well there. They've run him down the wing, had a bounce, had another bounce. He's going to look inside 50 now, head towards... is that Greenwell's just got the ball there?
Suns starting to win a bit of the footy here, Brett. Have the Bulldogs starting to think about their celebration, do you think?
Oh, look, potentially. Yeah, potentially. But, look, we're 12 minutes in, 5 minutes to go, roughly 8 minutes to go maybe, and you're 11, 12 goals up. You could probably be forgiven for going and having a bit of fun now.
The ever-experienced Josh Hollis, he'll just try and start winding the clock back a little bit here. He just obviously wants to get through the rest of this quarter.
Chips it out wide to the uncontested play again here. Here we go again with a bit of pace. There's a player on up the field. I think that's Austinberry. He's going to look inside 50 and find Tony Burke.
Tony Burke has spilled it.
He's dropped it. Sitter goes back towards
Austinberry again.
goes inside, and I think that's Fry, is it?
Cody Fry will go back and have a shot at goal.
Pretty sure he kicked one in the first quarter, Fry, so it'd be a nice little result for him if he can put this through and finish with a couple in a grand final.
Tony Burke would be absolutely furious with himself for dropping the sitter there.
Well, just goes to show, doesn't it? You can play 300 games but still make mistakes.
And Cody Fry goes back and kicks a goal.
Yeah, good result for him. It's I think I can remember he's kicked at least 2 now, Cody. So if you can walk off after playing in a grand final with a couple of goals next to your name, you've had a reasonable day.
14 minutes played. Thuringowa Bulldogs 14 goals 10-94 lead the Northern Beaches Suns 2 goals to 14. You would think the Thuringowa Bulldogs can probably start celebrating here. We've got approximately 4 minutes to go.
Oh, look, and this is the fun part, isn't it? When you're playing in a grand final and you can see the time clock there, and you know that there's not long to go, and you're not going to lose the game. So I'm sure there's some guys running around with some pretty happy sort of faces, pretty good smiles on their faces at the moment. They've still got a contest here, but at the end of the day, they might try and share it around a little bit, give a bit of love to everybody, and yeah.
I think they need to clear out the forward 50 and give it to Trent. I want to see one of these celebrations you talk about, Brett.
Yeah, look, as I say, he believes he's a key forward, Trendy, and I'd love to see him get a look at it. It looks like Tony Burke's taken the chest mark this time, so he's looking to cash in as well. I think he kicked one earlier this quarter, so he's going to line up for his second for the quarter. Yeah, mark spilt there by James Ryan, and it spills out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
Got a stoppage deep inside the Bulldogs forward 50 here. Bulldogs are setting up a bit of a wall. They don't want to let it out. They want to finish this game with the ball in their control.
Well, I'm just looking around. I'm on trend watch at the moment. I can't see him. Where is he? He's going to get him down there. Burke tries to get his little kick towards goal. There's Trendy there. Has he kicked it? I think he has.
He has.
Here he goes. He's giving
us a celebration.
Given us the fist pump. He's running around. He's high-fiving everyone inside. Well done, Trendy.
Matthew Trent kicks his first goal of the afternoon.
Pretty sure it's his first goal ever, actually, Brennan. No, I'm only joking. It wouldn't be his first goal ever, but it is good to see when he kicks a goal. He loves the celebration.
And the Bulldogs bring up their 100-point mark. I'm not sure, going into the senior game, Brett, I'm not sure we see 100 points in the senior game today. I think it's going to be much closer affair, and it's probably going to be, a bit of a grind throughout the game, and I'm tipping the final score is going to be somewhere around the 50 to 60 point mark. Yeah,
and I think, look, we mentioned earlier there's contrasting styles of play there, and I think the best, the Tigers probably the ones that want it to be around that 10 goal mark, 60 odd point mark, and if you're getting up around the 80, 90, 100 sort of point mark, I'd say that's in Caraswan's favour, because that'll just allow them to dominate the play and keep possession of the footy going through the middle of the ground. So you're right. I think if you can get to 60 points today, or maybe 65, somewhere around that mark, you're going to be right in it as far as winning the game goes.
We've just seen a big hit by Cambosis.
Yeah, he's a big boy, Cody. He likes the body contact, so it doesn't surprise me that he's still out there with a couple of minutes to go, putting the body out and trying to find some opposition body.
Got a stoppage deep inside the Suns forward 50 here. There's another chance for them to put another score on the board here.
And let's hope they can. We've spoken about reward for them, and I don't think they've given up at all throughout the day. I just think potentially they've just been a bit outclassed today, so let's see if they can get a little bit more reward and on the scoreboard.
We've spoken about the pride that their crowd, it's a big Northern Beaches Suns crowd here too. We've spoken about their pride that they've shown today, and as you can hear in the background, they have kicked a goal and their supporters have got up and about. They've only kicked three for the day versus the Bulldogs 15, and their supporters are showing how proud they are.
And it's great to see. They had one goal on the board at three-quarter time, and we probably could have been forgiven for thinking they could just put the cue in the rack and go through the motions for the last quarter, but to show a bit and kick a couple of goals in the last quarter, it's important, I think.
And that goal was kicked by young Reece Lambert. He's a player that he's in the inclusions team for Queensland, and he manages to line up as the 23rd player for the Suns on a weekly basis, which is a great initiative shown by AFL Queensland and obviously AFL Townsville to allow that to happen. He's actually come on and been rewarded with a goal in his first ever grand final game.
Yeah, it's good to see, isn't it? It brings a smile to a lot of people's faces, I think, when you see things like that happen in community football.
Bulldogs got another inside 50 here.
Yeah, the young Tongy handballs off to Fry again. Fry has a flying shot on goal, and I'll tell you what, he went pretty close from where he was.
That was close. Tell you what, if he kicked that goal, I would have been up and about over that one, because that would have been a beautiful goal.
Yeah, and we've got an attempted hanger. He's going to get pinged for going a bit early here. Flynn Kelly's just limping after the football. He might have got a knee in the back there, so... But he's been another consistent player today, Flynn Kelly. He goes inside 50 looking for Ryan, who he just drops the mark, but his second effort, he's back on it. Here's Allerton again on the left boot. He tries to bend it around, but he's just missed to the left-hand side.
He has had a great game, Cayman Allerton. Really stepped up today in the loss of Jared Gilroy. He's had an absolutely fantastic game, and I think he's shown his coaches here that, he's gone into the ruck, but I think he could also be a midfielder.
Yeah, look, he played a few senior games with us throughout the year and really came in off some good form playing in the midfield for the reserves team, and he sort of played as a high half forward and midfielder as well. And look, he's a young guy. He's got a few things that he needs to learn as he goes along, but he's definitely got the ability to make it a permanent spot for him in that sort of area of the ground.
Just coming on 20 minutes played here in the fourth quarter, so the siren you would think is going to go any time from now. Maybe a small amount of time on to be played, but the Bulldogs are only moments away from celebrating a grand final victory.
It goes inside 50 again for the Suns. This ball spilling out towards the intersection of the boundary line and the 50-metre line. Jeeves picks it up, kicks to the wing. Tony Burke once again takes the chest mark. He looks up and he sees Tongy. Tongy's picked it up. He's going to go inboard. Who's he going to find? Oh, the ball's smothered a little bit. The Dogs are going to bang it inside 50, and is Ryan going to get there? No, I think it's out of bounds on the full.
That was a really nice play by the Bulldogs coming down that near wing there. That was set up by Thomas Jeeves coming out of the back line.
Just showed though, and it's something that I'm sure the senior groups that are playing today are going to be aware of. If you get stuck out on this half forward flank, it's very, very hard. So you've got to look to get inboard a bit sooner, but the siren's gone.
And the Thuringowa Bulldogs 15-12, 102, beat the Northern Beaches Suns 3 goals to 20. And you've got to take your hats off. Big congratulations to the Thuringowa Bulldogs, premiership winners of the AFL Townsville Reserve Grade competition for 2021.
Yeah, premiership champions too. So, you don't see it too often, premiers and champions. So it's a great effort for everyone involved.
So that's two in a row for the Dogs, winning the under 16 and a halves and now the reserves. And that's the end of the Dogs feature for the afternoon. So I'm sure they're happy to be walking away with a few premierships today.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned before, the game, the fairy tale's there for them. They were unlucky last year when the scores were level at the end of the regulation time, and then in overtime they got pipped only by a couple of points, I believe. So, for them to come back and go undefeated throughout the year and manage to stand up and get the job done again today, it'd be a great reward for a lot of these guys that were here for that heartbreak last year.
You've got to take your hats off to the Northern Beaches Suns. They were obviously out of this game quite early, but they continued to push and continued to try, and they managed to have 2 goals in the fourth quarter and make their score a little bit more respectable. Yeah,
look, they can't be too disappointed either. We've spoken about their finals games so far this year, and they went into those. They would have been underdogs in both of them, and they just found a toughness, I think, and an ability to fight when the game was on the line to win those games and give themselves an opportunity today. So there's a lot to like about it, and hopefully they go and celebrate as they should.
We'll just take a moment to take a quick break, and we'll be back very shortly for the start of the presentation. And we're back to finish off the coverage of the AFL Townsville Reserves Grand Final with the victors being the Thuringowa Bulldogs 15-12, 102 over the Northern Beaches Suns. I think we've got the presentation to come, but I think we've got to be looking at our Eric Johns medalist here, Brett. My pick for the day is Cayman Elton. We spoke about him throughout the call. Might be challenged by players of the likes of Moffat, Douglas, and Osterbury. Is there anyone else you can think of, Brett, or do you think it's Emerton's award to be won?
Yeah, look, if I was picking it, mate, I'd be saying Elton. I just think early on when he was able to stand up when the game was on the line, go into the ruck, probably wouldn't have planned for that too much. So to get thrown in there as a young fella and have the influence he did when the game was on the line, I just think... look, he was consistent throughout the rest of the game as well. So for me, I'd be saying Elton. Obviously, we spoke about those other guys as well in Ostenberry and even Flynn Kelly. I think got a lot of important ball out on the wings as well. His run just allowed him to find possession and find time and space, and was really important too. But I think it's Elton for me, mate.
Very big second half there by Flynn Kelly. He's really stepped up in the second half as the game started to open up. He got a lot of run and carry and delivery going forward from out on that wing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he's got a great work rate, and as I say, he's got a really good running ability as well. And when you put those two things together, you're going to find a lot of football in Townsville. So he's had a good game and a good result for him.
Brett, just while we wait for this presentation to obviously commence, we're only a matter of 20 minutes away from the start of the RMS Senior Men's Premiership game, Curra Swans versus the Hermit Park Tigers. What's going through their minds right now?
Well, I think now's the time because you've only probably got to wait for these presentations and you're going to get out on the ground and start your warm-ups and that sort of thing. So as the coaching groups go around, and they might have them in their own groups and that sort of thing, but you'll be just reiterating the things that are important, especially in this first 10 to 15 minutes. Just making sure that you've got composure, you get a bit of control on the game, you don't go panicking when things don't go your way. So look, understand there's going to be momentum swings throughout the course of the day as well, what that looks like and how you're going to combat it, and just reiterating all those things. So there'll be some nerves there for some players, but you try and keep it focused, I think.
We'll take a short break and let you listen in to the presentation, and we'll come back and wrap things up and take a break after that before we start the coverage of the AFL Townsville Senior Men's Premiership.
To assist with our presentations today, I'd like to introduce AFL Townsville Life member and AFL Queensland Hall of Fame member, John Durkin. We now take this opportunity to thank our match umpires for the reference today, led by our field umpires Malcolm Gray, Andrew Grubber and Jim Thompson. Congratulate them on their grand final appointments. If you can please join me in showing our appreciation for the umpires, not just for today, but for their performances throughout the year. I'd now like to invite John to present the Eric Johns Medal for Best on Ground. That is named in honour of the deceased AFL Townsville Life member, Eric Johns. It's an iconic figure for the league and also the Hermit.
Back with you here, the Reserves presentation. We're about to have the announcement of the Reserves. Eric Johns, best on ground.
From the Thuringowa Bulldogs, number 51, Nathan Purdy.
Well, congratulations to Nathan Purdy. Great effort to win a best on ground medal in a grand final.
Look, absolutely well done to him. He did have a good game. He did impact the game. Obviously, we discussed up here in the commentary box that we thought Cayman Elton was really good. The reason I went with Cayman Elton was he had a really big first half when the game was still on the line, but Purdy was consistent throughout the game, so congratulations to Nathan Purdy. We'll leave you with the presentation for the moment, and we'll be back to wrap things up very shortly.
I'd like to thank all our supporters up there that are helping us out all day. What this league's got to understand is where we've come from. To get ourselves into a grand final today is the best thing that this league can ever see. So to my boys, wasn't our day, but next year, look out league. Well done, Foxy.
Thanks for that, Rob. Now I'd like to ask our winning coach, Peter Johnson from the Thuringowa Bulldogs, to come forward to receive his medallion and match ball from John and say a few words on behalf of his team.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the sponsors, the club sponsors and the league sponsors. To all the fans who come down and watch, thank you very much. To the league and to AFL Queensland, also thank you. Julie and the boys from the Suns, trust me when I say we know how you feel, we've been there twice in a row. But heads up, you've had a great season and I hope we'll see you come back and have another crack next year. To our boys, it's been a long time coming. We got the job done, and for me, thank you so much, boys. Love you all. Well done.
It's now time to present the Premiership players with their medallions. Number 1, Win Kelly. Number 13, Joe Bland. Number 14, Matthew Trent. Number 18, Joshua Hollis. Number 23, Jared Gilroy. Might have been injured, I think, Jared. Number 24, Liam McKinnon. Number 25, Quinton Ostbury. Number 30, David Scott. Number 31, Sean Moffat. Number 37, Callum O'Dwyer. Number 40, Cody Evans. Number 41, Joshua Todney. Number 42, Cayman Ellington. Number 43, Cody Fry. Number 45, Thomas Jeeves. Number 46, James Ryan. Number 51, for the second time today, Nathan Purdy. Number 55, Anthony Burke. Number 59, Frank Scaramaglia.
As we go through the presentations, we'll just take a moment to acknowledge our sponsors for the day. RMS Engineering and Construction have brought you this coverage today, so a big thank you to them. We're at the conclusion of our reserves call, so I'd like to say a massive thank you to yourself, Brett Hughes, for assisting me in the commentary today. We'll be going to a short break shortly, and we'll welcome Joel Newman for the call in the Senior Premiership.
No worries at all, Brendan. Thanks very much. It was enjoyable, and best of luck to the two senior teams this afternoon.
I'm sure it's going to be a cracker. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you again in about 10 minutes' time.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2021 AFL Townsville Reserves Premiers, the Thuringowa Bulldogs.